Oh, there we are. I think it's, yes, stopped raining. Oh, and the sun's coming out, that's nice. What a lovely umbrella for a small child. A large frog for a small child. Keeps their head dry, or if it's hot, stops the sun getting on their head too. But beautiful idea to have those eyes sticking out. It's got some clever mechanism in here to make the eyes pop up as the umbrella's opened. So I've been looking at frogs who have been spawning madly over here. So I've got several frogs to go through and look at, all with different designs and different toys, but all with a common theme of being a frog. The first one is an easy one. It's just a simple little wind-up, but this has been very well made, I think. I've never seen it done before. It's done with a flock material on the outside, so it's nice for children to stroke. It's got an easy knurled wheel type wind-up and a long-running small motor, and then it hops. That's great fun for children, isn't it? And it goes a long time too. So a little frog that hops, which is what they should do, of course. And this is another soft one, but this is meant for mothers to use, actually, because this is made of rubber. There's a company in Italy who are showing this in Nuremberg for many years. Inside here is a clothes peg. So when you squeeze that, it holds on, grips onto, for instance, a clothesline, or if you're doing it in the office, you could use it for holding paper and things, which is quite fun. But I love the idea of a frog desperately clinging onto something like that. It's a nice strong spring, and it works very well too. I've tried it on my clothesline. It holds up the shirts or the pants or the tea towels very nicely, and it's just very well made. Functional too, I like that. Another one that's playful yet functional are these little magnetic frogs, magnumals they call them. Each of them has got a neodymium magnet here and here, so the two pieces join together, and another one breaks apart and joins together. So you can mix them and match them if you want to, but the idea is, I think, is to actually put a bit of paper in between it, or a bit of an office card, for instance, like that. And then you can have a bit of fun because you can put the other ones around it like this. That's fun, isn't it? Further bits of play, because you're wanting a little bit of playtime in the office. I discovered when playing around with them, sometimes the magnets inside are not all on the same orientation. So I discovered to my joy that I could put these two heads together, looking like the Push Me Pull You from Dr. Doolittle's book. Their tails go together, their back legs as well, which is sweet, whereas that one doesn't work, it just repels. But that's a lovely idea, isn't it? To remind them of something. I think it was a llama in Dr. Doolittle's book with a head each end, and that's exactly what that is. So it can be used for all sorts of fun and games in the office, but sensible reasons as well. So well done, Play Visions. The card itself came from a very curious toy I picked up from Christine Babar's shop in North London about 30 years ago. This is unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's a piece of card with designs on it, and it's got two layers of acetate, which are slightly separated here. So this looks like a red log, I suppose, in between two treetops, is it, or two bushes. If we put the cards through this layer, it reveals it's actually a salamander or a red gecko or something in between two bushes. That's right. It's nice transformation. If we put it through the middle layer, something else quite extraordinary happens, because those two bushes do a transformation as well. Look at this. They turn into two frogs. Isn't that extraordinary? So if you take it back and forward, you'll see what's happening is there's a very strong artwork of bushes at the bottom of the card coming through, and the frog, which is in the middle there, is completely disguised. You can't make it out. It's too weak. But the salamander's turned nicely into a tree trunk too, which is a cute idea. So a lovely transformation for children to enjoy. And there are about 20 designs of these cards, all with the same idea of a card that went through underneath one and then two layers of acetate and produced different pictures. It's a nice one. There's a standard ballpoint pen, which you must have, of course. And this one I've already made it come out, so I can retract it like this. But when I want to make the ballpoint come out, what happens is I push this down and then, oh, that's nice. That's a rasping sound of a frog croaking. The sound's coming out of here where there's small holes. It's only a mechanical sound. When I do it, the ballpoint pen comes out, so I have to retract it. But this is a nice one of a frog underneath, on the top. He's got little eyes which wiggle about because there's tiny little balls in white sockets. And the way the mouth opens and closes, it's quite a soft sound, of course, but he's only a small frog, so he can't make too much noise. But a nice one, that. For small children to play with, and something useful because it's a ballpoint pen. Another idea for a child is this book from Child's Play. It's a sort of educational book, but it's extraordinary because it's a Lazy Tongs toy as well. I love these particular designs of toys. When you squeeze these together, what happens is the pieces all come out like a lazy tongs. Let's try doing it this way. Look at that, extraordinary. Frog's legs. Then on the inside, you can undo the thing. There's lots and lots of information about the frog's life and its cycle, all the way through spawn to tadpole to frog in turn. And it's lots and lots of things to read about on the frog itself, but it's also a thing for children to hold and play with as a toy. So a lovely way of enjoying your education. Going back to simple toys again, here's a nice one. You simply squeeze it and out comes the red tongue. Wow, that's nice, isn't it? If you go back again, well, sort of. Oh, there we are. So it's got a piece of string that retracts and comes out. It's exactly like a frog's tongue. So it's nice for children to realise there is an animal, a type of frog in which this does happen. The tongue comes right out to catch insects in mid-flight. And it's very soft rubber, so something for a child to enjoy. There's two interesting toys here which are extraordinary. They should have made them into the frog design. One is a yo-yo and the other one is a Jacob's ladder. How can they be made into working models? Well, they do. It's quite soft. It's got covered in plastic. I'll shorten the string, otherwise it's too long. But it's a standard little yo-yo. Goes up and down. It won't be any good for a real yo-yo fanatic who wants to do stunts and tricks with it, because it doesn't dwell, it doesn't sleep for one thing. It's got a fixture to the spindle inside, so that won't work. But for a small child, they don't bother about that. They just want the fun of something which runs up and down the string, and if it's got a frog attachment to it or design, that's what they want. And this is even more extraordinary because it's a standard Jacob's ladder with the flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flops, but they put a huge amount of information to children on the actual, these are like pages of a book almost. We start here with the frog spawn, and then we proceed along here through its tadpole stage, and we turn over and we've got the tadpole getting bigger and bigger all the way to the frog. That's fully illustrated, the history of the frog from beginning to end. At the same time, it's a Jacob's ladder. Bit stiff, but it works very well. I like the idea of the ribbons being made of very clear plastic so that it doesn't disguise the artwork underneath, so the information all about the frog's life and so on, which I think is very nice. So, good one, that. There's a delightful idea from a company called Tomahawk, who showed at the Frankfurt Gift Fair for many years in the 90s. They're little boxes which open up, and then there's something underneath which relates to the thing on the top. Well, here we've got a frog with its throat swollen. It's blown its throat up. I think it's a kind of way of attracting females to it. But some artists thought to themselves a bit of surrealism, how did it get so big as that? And the answer, according to them, was underneath was their friend, a fish, with an air pump. And there's the air line there, pumping away and making his throat blow up like a balloon. What a lovely idea that is, isn't it? Underwater, his friend Joe is pumping away and producing a wonderful swollen throat, just like a balloon. Extraordinary idea. So, well done, the artist, for that. And then the last frog is a lovely sort of beanie bag type thing. It's very much smaller than beans inside. I don't know what it is, but it's very soft. It's got a plastic head, but the fun of the plastic head, as well as the flop is quite nice, is it's got a little electronic device inside for making it perform. So when you squeeze the mouth, oh, that's nice. So a small child could have great fun flopping it about and then holding up and saying, wow. In time now.